Welcome to the Sankofa Pan-African series. We travel through history's corridors, illuminating Afrocentric narratives. Support us through Patreon or by buying me coffee. Your subscription is a great start, but do hit the bell for notifications so you know when we have new episodes. Share our videos and visit our website sankofastorybooks.com for stories, biographies, Afrocentric nursery rhymes, and other resources for children. Together can change the negative narratives about us. The presence of foreign military bases in Africa has long been a contentious issue. Countries such as the United States and France argue that these bases are necessary for maintaining regional security, combating terrorism, and providing humanitarian support. However, the long-term implications of hosting foreign military installations often come at a high cost to African nations. Hosting these bases can erode sovereignty, foster dependency, and exacerbate regional instability. Here are the key reasons why African countries should rethink the practice of hosting foreign military bases. When African countries host foreign military bases, they often surrender a degree of their sovereignty. These bases are in essence territories where foreign governments exercise control, often operating under agreements that limit the host nation's ability to oversee their activities. This dynamic can undermine national decision-making, as host countries may feel obligated to align their policies with the strategic interests of the foreign power. For example, France has maintained a strong military presence in West Africa for decades, citing counter-terrorism as a primary objective. However, this presence has often been criticized for prioritizing France's geopolitical interests over the needs and aspirations of local populations. Foreign military bases can create a cycle of dependency that undermines the development of robust, self-sufficient security frameworks within African nations. Instead of investing in local military capacity and infrastructure, governments may rely on foreign powers to address security challenges. This reliance not only weakens domestic institutions, but also leaves nations vulnerable should foreign support be withdrawn. In the Sahel region, for instance, the reliance on French forces to combat insurgencies has led to limited progress in addressing root causes of instability. When France began scaling back its operations, many African governments were left scrambling to fill the security void. The presence of foreign military bases can exacerbate tensions and instability in already volatile regions. These installations can become targets for extremist groups, fueling resentment and anti-foreign sentiment among local populations. In some cases, foreign bases have been associated with drone strikes, civilian casualties, and other actions that breed hostility and distrust. For example, US military activities in Somalia, including drone operations, have led to civilian casualties, fueling recruitment for extremist groups like Al-Shabaab. The very presence of foreign troops can inflame tensions, making it harder to achieve long-term peace and stability. While foreign powers often promise economic benefits such as job creation and infrastructure development in exchange for hosting military bases, these benefits are typically minimal. The majority of jobs created are low-paying, and much of the economic activity generated benefits foreign contractors rather than local communities. Furthermore, hosting military bases can drain public resources. Governments may prioritize accommodating foreign military needs over addressing critical domestic issues such as healthcare, education, and infrastructure. Foreign military bases perpetuate the dynamics of neo-colonialism, where powerful nations maintain control over African states under the guise of security cooperation. This relationship often skews in favor of the foreign power, perpetuating unequal dynamics and leaving African countries with limited leverage in negotiations. France's military presence in its former colonies has been particularly criticized for maintaining a neo-colonial grip on the region. The continued dependency on French forces has prevented many African nations from achieving full political and economic autonomy. African nations should explore alternatives to hosting foreign military bases, such as strengthening regional cooperation. Initiatives like the African Union's AU, Peace and Security Council, and regional bodies like ECOWAS can promote collaborative approaches to security, investing in local security forces. Prioritizing the development of local military and law enforcement capacities can reduce reliance on external powers. Engaging in diplomacy. Addressing the root causes of instability, such as poverty, corruption, and inequality, can reduce the need for military interventions. Rejecting foreign military bases is not about isolating African nations, but about reclaiming control over their destinies. By refusing to host foreign troops, African countries send a clear message that they prioritize their sovereignty, dignity, and the well-being of their citizens over the strategic interests of external powers. African nations should critically evaluate the implications of hosting foreign military bases. While these bases may promise short-term security and economic benefits, the long-term costs to sovereignty, stability, and independence are far greater. By investing in local capacities and regional cooperation, African countries can build a more secure and self-reliant future, free from the shadows of foreign powers. It's time for Africa to assert its sovereignty and lead its own path toward peace and prosperity